with his band every time he comes out to the West Coast.
Right. Have you played with the Zitos from Utica?
Yes, he's on that band also.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, you son of a gun. Now, are you originally from Providence or what?
I was born there, yeah.
Aha.
Born and raised.
Really? I'm a Smith Hill boy.
Smith Hill?
Yeah.
Oh, I came from around the Dexter training ground.
Okay, I know where it is.
Westminster and Broadway.
Yeah.
Sure.
How do you like that? My family's still back there. I go there every summer.
I'll be
I go back to Narragansett Pier every summer.
Yeah.
Sure, how do you like that? And I got somebody that's going to call in too with envy.
Oh,
high school.
Oh, no, I
Hope High School.
there when I was about 18 years old who joined Artie Shaw's band.
How do you like that? What high school?
I've been going ever since.
What
I went to Benny Goodman and you name it.
Ralph, what high school were you in? I went to Hope.
I went to Central.
Oh, okay. And then, of course, Frankie Carl was also from Providence.
Right.
Did you ever play with him?
No, I never have. But we get to talk every once in a while. And on Texas Band, we always play a Sunrise Serenade.
Yeah. Oh, you son of a gun. Hey, let me just throw this phone line on here because I think it's that person with envy from Rhode Island. Hold on 1 second. You're on WIBX.
You got it.
Ha! What did I tell you?
He's from my neck of the woods.
Can you hear it, Ralph?
Very faintly.
I used to live on Sheldon Street off of Westminster. I mean,
Right.
off of, oh dear.
You're going to have to speak up a little more, dear.
I used to live in Providence too. On Sheldon Street.
This is old home week.
Yeah.
What are all those New Englanders doing out here?
I'm originally from Utica, but my husband was going to college out there. He went to Bryant, and I was living in Rhode Island for a few years.
I'm sorry, dear. I can just barely hear you.
Yeah, that seems to be one of the problems
Yeah,
here.
I don't have a very good connection, I don't.
Okay, well, we'll drop Marilyn off here. We'll get back to you. Hold on. Okay, and no, that seems to be a problem with some of the calls when I conference them. But I'm from
Well,
Providence.
it's delightful to hear from someone else from Providence.
Oh yeah. Now listen, when you you went with Artie at the age of 18,
Right.
and
The Navy Band.
oh, okay, you went right into it.
Yeah.
Okay, now how about your formal training? Do you have any formal training with music?
Oh, yeah. I studied in Providence from my dad most of my life, but then I studied with Joseph Archurio in Boston, who was a classical type of clarinetist. And then I studied with Joe Allard up in New York, and Henry Lindman, and Leon Rushinoff. And then I says, well, I want to play jazz.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I did.
Right.
Well, Ralph is capable of playing every spectrum of music from legit to jazz.
Oh, I can imagine.
So,
There's my PR.
Go right ahead.
so he worked with the Rhode Island Philharmonic and the Newport Rhode Island Symphony.
Did he get into the Newport Jazz at all?
No.
No, I've been hoping that he could come up on one of their festivals, but I never know who to contact, and not having an agent or anybody to help me, they don't even know that he exists.
Well, he will now. I'll see that the word gets down there. As a matter of fact, I was speaking to Clark Terry just a couple of weeks ago, and he tells me that they do have the Newport Jazz Festival every year again. And I'll get the information to you.
Oh, great.
We'll get we'll get the things going. Use us as the middleman
You
here.
must realize I've been out on the West Coast since about 1950.
Right.
So I'm far removed from that scene.
Yeah. Well, see, George Ween is the gentleman that has been putting these festivals together.
Right.
He puts the Jazz Festival together here at Saratoga in New York State also. And he's the one that pulled off that original Newport Jazz Festival.
Right. I'm familiar with the name.
Right. So he's the man to really get in touch with, and I'll see that the information gets down to him and back
Harvey?
to you. Yes.
I've tried for about 2 years to get in touch with George Wein, and I sent a tape to his office in California, and I've never got any response. They just they kind of fluffed me off, the secretary, and then then I talked to another secretary, and she said she'd send it to him in New York. But I think it gets lost in the shuffle.
Well, it's not getting. I don't think it's getting lost in the shuffle. I had an incident with one of the jazz festivals, and I seemed to walk away, and I was talking, again with Clark Terry, and he sort of agreed with me that it does exist, and there's sort of a snobbishness with a certain group of jazz players.
Tell me about it.
Well, okay, so and a lot of it goes back to some of the media exposure that they didn't get during the early days, and of course they hold that against anybody trying to move in on their clan. So I don't know. I don't know if they're just trying to hold it to a small clique, or just what the answer is. But I'll see to it that one way or another we get the information to where it's supposed to go.
Well, great.
Now, from Artie Shaw, when you went into the Navy band, how long did you stay with Artie?
Well, I stayed with that band all through World War II. Shaw was on it for about 13 months, and then that was taken over by Sam Donahue. And
he's the one from Tommy Dorsey, right?
Right, and Tommy Dorsey and James, and then he had his own band. And it was just a great band. When I first went on it, we had 3 band leaders, and we had 3 different libraries to play from. One was Shaw's, one was Donahue's, and the other was Claude Thornhill. Mm-hmm. He was on that band also. Right. But then Claude left, and Shaw got discharged out of the Navy, and Sam took the band over, and we went over into Europe with it, into England. And following that, I'm sure you knew some of our brass players on that band. You familiar with Conrad Gozzo?
Oh, certainly.
And John Best?
Sure. John Best, okay, is playing now, I understand, with Ray Conniff.
Occasionally.
Yeah, and also with Bob Crosby.
Well, I played with Bob Crosby last week.
Really?
But you know that John got into a terrible accident.
No, I don't.
Well, John owns an avocado ranch, and he went out to his ranch and climbed a 60-foot ladder all by himself and fell off.
Oh, my goodness.
And he laid on the ground for almost 24 hours before anyone was able to help him. And right now he's having difficulty walking. He broke his spine.
Oh, really? Now, this couldn't have happened too long ago.
Playing great. He comes up on the job in a wheelchair.
Now, this couldn't have happened too long ago, could it?
No, this is about 6 months to a year ago.
Boy. Must have been about the time. Well, it must have happened after I talked with Ray. Because I spoke to Ray, it must have been about the November or so.
If anyone out there knows John, just let them know that he's feeling just great. And he'll be walking real soon.
I certainly will. And, boy, I'm sorry to hear that. Mm-hmm. Now, I also want to get in touch with Bob Crosby, because this gentleman that I have the program with over in Europe knows somebody there that is writing a book about Bob Crosby. And we want to get some information to send over there. So there's a lot of activity going on, believe it or not. We have a lot of young people now that are not rediscovering, the older ones are rediscovering, but the younger people are discovering this music for the first time.
Yes, I know.
And they're collecting all sorts of music, and it's really heartwarming.
Yeah, well, we play out at Disneyland occasionally out here, and the young kids come by and say, "My God, we didn't know this kind of music existed," and they're really getting into it.
Right. Well, one of the things that came up about a week ago, and I mentioned it to Sandy when he called. I have a news director here that's in his 20s, and he brought up a very interesting point, and that is that the younger people get turned off as soon as they hear big band, because they can only visualize their parents dancing to this music at their age now.
Yeah.
They're not thinking that it was the young people that were playing the music, the young people that were dancing to it.
True.
So when they get exposed to it now, if you don't mention big band, if you just mention, hey, let's go see, Ralph Lapolla, let's go see Buddy Rich, then it's a completely different story.
Right.
And it's just something I pass along to the people now that I'm aware of it.
Well, let me relate a little story to you about one of my gigs that I just played recently. We had a young couple that just got married. He's Sam, Sam Jones, who is an actor. He used to play the part of Flash Gordon. And he married this girl that does a lot of commercials. Now, they're in their early 20s, and they wanted my kind of music.
At their wedding.
At a wedding. In other words, they hired a 17-piece band to play a wedding.
Yeah, yeah.
And there were a lot of young people, young starlets and what have you, that came there.
You notice, too?
The gig was supposed to be from 8 to 12. And we started at 8, and we were still playing at 3 in the morning.
And do you notice, too, that they're dressing up in the dress of that era?
That's what they did.
Sure.
They want their wedding reception. They wanted the whole decor and the whole mood of the music of the 30s and the 40s.
That's what they're doing right across the window.
Their costumes were rented at a costume rental, and they were dressed as the bride and groom of that era.
Isn't that
They were
beautiful?
in their early 20s, Harvey.
Yeah, I know it. I see this happening, and it is heartwarming.
They hadn't seen or heard the band, and I just sent them a tape. They had gone to listen to a lot of bands in person that were playing around town, and Ralph was not playing anywhere in particular during that time, and they wanted to make a decision, so I said, well, I'll send you a tape. And they just flipped over it and called and said, we want Ralph and his band, and hired him sight unseen. To play that
and they just loved it.
Oh, sure. And like I say, if you can send me a tape, and I'll intersperse it with the talking, and you'll see what I do with it. And
by the way, did you ever get the Sandy Beck's Big Band magazine?
Oh, sure. I've been getting that.
That deluxe edition that he had all the different bands.
Photoplay.
Photoplay.
You know something? I don't have that one. I'll have to get in touch with him on that.
Well, there's a picture of my band in that. And it was an affair that we played for the premiere of On Golden Pond. It was a private screening at the old Pick Fair out here, the one that Mary Pickford and
right, that's the estate, yeah. Now, did they sell that?
Yeah, they sold it to Jerry Buss, who's the owner of the Lakers. And this was put on by Jane Fonda, and I played for her. She and John Voight was there, and all of the biggies. And they said, there's a little dance floor. He says, but I don't think anyone is going to dance. And I said, well, that's a small postage stamp to dance on. And we got playing, and everyone danced rather than talking business, which was a feather in my cap.
Oh, sure it is. Now, listen, I spoke with Heine Bow.
Heine Bow.
Yeah, not too long ago, okay? And, of course, I asked him how he tamed the clarinet, and how did you tame it?
I'm sorry, I didn't get that.
Okay, I asked him how he tamed the clarinet, because I understand that the clarinet is one of the most difficult instruments to play.
Right.
Now, he's telling me about the muscle coordination and